and it just gets me right in the correct mindset. So when I get into the office, I've already dialed for 45 minutes, right? And so it doesn't get heavy because I'm already in that mindset, and I put in the first number, and I just go. But before, it was like I almost had to work myself up to it. And then I would get into the office at 8, but I wouldn't start dialing till 10 because I'm like caressing my leads and looking at my phone and wondering like maybe it is too early, or this person's 70 years old, maybe they're not up yet, or maybe this person's already at work, they're 35. You know what I mean? So making excuses for my clients, and it just psyched me out. So now I don't do that anymore.
That's good. That's good. And that's so key. I see, with you being able to find a video that you could connect with, that you can kind of just implement every day on dial day to help you. That's so crucial, and not a lot of people take advantage of that. How did you seek that stuff out? Did you ask Eric, or did you just go search for it? Kind of talk to me about your thought process behind that and any other type of training.
Yeah, so I see it as any sport. So if you're looking into starting any sport, or even an instrument, if you're not a sports person and you love music. So if you try to pick up a new instrument, let's say I have a guitar at home, and literally it's in its case in the closet, because it takes a lot of time to invest in practicing before you can play a song, right? And some of us just want to get right to playing that song because we like the sound of that specific instrument in that song. But the reality is it's going to sound really, really bad for a long time before you can play that song the way that you like to hear it.
Yeah.
Makes sense? And you have to invest that time. So I feel the same way with training. And, quite honestly, I didn't like certain trainers. And I'm like, I can't even listen to him. Like, I can't get through a video of him speaking. And we all have, right? At the end of the day, when you now can relate to that information that person's giving, and if, oh my God, that happened to me last week, but before that it had never happened, so I couldn't connect with that training. Makes sense? So we put it aside and we're like, I'm not going to listen to that person. At the end of the day, you're going to listen to all of them because they're training for a reason. They're top producers, top agency builders, they have integrity deals, you know what I mean? So they're behind a camera, they're training, they're taking their time, they're in a corporate training for a reason, not because they want to hear themselves speak, but because they have valuable information that's going to help you guys not step on that landmine. So I kept that training going 24/7, Jermaine. Before my baby woke up in the morning, I already have my headset in, or whatever you use. On my way to my first appointment, between appointments, if I wasn't dialing, I was listening to training. And there's no music, like zero music. I'm training, even now, because now it's all about agency building, right? So I put on Grady Polson, Andrew Taylor, and I'm listening consistently to them because maybe they said something the first week that I started listening to it, and it makes sense now. Like, you know how many times I've heard AWeber, and I just figured out what it's used for yesterday, right? But that's just like any other information. Matt Smith talks about the couple things that you should do in a home in order to sell every single client. We've heard it before, but it doesn't click until you're like, why am I not closing? And then you're like, let me put Matt Smith on and go through those 5 points. And then what didn't I do? So yeah, it's just crucial. You have to be in the right mindset and be okay with knowing that you have to invest that time. There's no shortcut.
Yeah. And that's the truth. I think one of the challenges I see in this business is, when you come from, let's say if you were an employee before, you kind of learn your job function and then you just repeat it, over and over again. There's not much training, depending on what field you're in. Teachers, you might need certification, or nursing, you might need to do a recertification. But for the majority of people, it's just, you just do the same thing over and over. And it's having to break that habit, right? And being in this field, knowing that you constantly got to be working on improving, just like playing an instrument or being doing a sport or something like that. And being able to apply that to this business to get better and not give up. I'm sure you've probably had times where you felt like giving up, right?
I did many times, and I'm like, nope, I'm not going to do this anymore. And then by the time I got home, I'm like, yes, I have to. Like, Like I got to the house, I saw the mortgage, I saw the, the bills, I saw my family. No, I have to do this. Like there's nowhere else that I'm going to go that I'm going to make this money. For the return, like the return on our investment, guys, it's ridiculous. Like this should be illegal. Okay. We take it for granted every single day. Like we're not building houses. It's 20 degrees outside, right? I'm in Connecticut. I go from my warm house to my warm car into a warm house. And I get back into my warm car, right? Like we're not, getting frostbite up in Connecticut. We're not dehydrating down in Florida, getting sunburn, having medical issues because of the work that we do. Maybe you need a psychologist. I don't know. But that's probably the worst that can happen, right? People dumping their problems on you. You probably have to dump them somewhere else. But like you said, Jermaine, the habits that we create, the habits that we have. So most of us do come from a 9 to 5, from a traditional job, maybe W-2, not even commission. And we have built these habits that we created that ceiling for ourselves, right? Whatever that may be, 50,000, 70,000. And you can't even fathom to be able to make $350,000 in a year. I couldn't. I reached a goal because I put my head down and I just worked. I wasn't focused on the number, right? But you would have asked me 2 years ago, Liz, how much are you going to be making in 2 years? That number wouldn't have even been the number anywhere close. But in order to get to a different level, you must break your habits. So I love music. I listen to music every minute that I could. That's how I grew up. And TV is so normal to have, right? But I had to stop watching TV, and that's fine. Like my son watches TV whenever he wants. So we have TVs at home. I just don't watch it. Like my time is more valuable than spending 2 hours binge watching something that's not going to make me any money or make me better tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have that choice. You can decide what to watch, what to listen to, what to invest your time, your mind into, right? What you put in here says a lot about, what comes out of here.
Yeah.
So if you're putting in, I don't know, like I love rap music. I do. But I can't put it into here because that's what's going to come out of here. Right. Yeah. And I'm selling life insurance, so I can't have these songs stuck in my head. But I'm just saying, like, you can't. You have to control what goes in here, and then you can create different habits to get to a different level, right?
Yeah.
Whatever that may mean for you.
Yeah. And what do those habits look like? So we've got some new agents on this call. To get to that point, from your experience, 350,000 is what you did, over 358,000 last year. What does it look like schedule wise, daily, when it's dial day? What does that look like? What time you get in the office? What time you leave in the office? Those type of things that are really just like technical or practical things that you need to know to be able to.
Absolutely. So, I didn't wake up this early before. It was actually very hard for me. But I wake up at 5 a.m. now. And I'm extremely proud to say that, because some people say, oh yeah, I wake up at 5 a.m. like it's nothing. No, guys, it's freaking hard for me. Like I suffer. So, my kid is 2 years old, just turned 2. Like I want to stay in bed with him. It's nice and warm and he sleeps with his arm like this on me. It's super cute. So I want to stay in bed, but I know that if I want to get ahead, if I want to collapse timeframes, right, and get to a level much quicker, I need to sacrifice now. So I'm going to have plenty of time to sleep in later. So I wake up at 5. I work out as much as I hate it, because I figure that self-discipline, if you can't create discipline elsewhere and teach other people discipline if you don't have self-discipline. It's just like, don't even talk to me. Like I wouldn't even talk to someone who doesn't work out every day. Like, why are you talking to me? Because you don't care about your health. So why are you telling me what to do? Right. So, I would stop at McDonald's every single day, at Dunkin' Donuts every single day, and just eat crap. Like I would eat crap. I wouldn't work out. I would wake up late. I would get to my first appointment super late and give the client an excuse that I was at my last appointment. No, I wasn't. You know what I mean? So, and again, guys, this is me being extremely transparent, but it's the truth. This is the habits that we create. So I had to cut all that stuff. So I wake up at 5, I work out for 45 minutes. I'm back, into the room getting ready for my day. Listen to podcasts depending on what day is it, run day or dial day. I listen to a specific podcast. Again, Daniel Byrne, The Phones is the one I listen to during my dial days. Other than that, I listen to either a podcast for work or like Tony Robbins. Like if I need a huge kick to get me up and going, depending on how I'm feeling, right? Some days I need motivation. Some days I just need to hear the FFL stuff, and just kind of get in the groove. But as I'm getting dressed, get out of the door, be at the office at 7:30, start dialing at 8. If I get nice and situated before, I'll start dialing before. That's not a problem. But I want a head start because from 8 to 10:30, I book the most appointments.
Makes sense.
And because I track my dials, I've seen that over and over again. Like I book 5 to 10 appointments typically in the first 2 hours. Okay. Oh. And then it seems like I spend the rest of the time trying to get those last appointments. And I'm like, oh, so I know I have to start early. It's just, it's data that I've gathered. So why not? But if I'm dialing on Monday, Tuesday morning, I'm open from, till 10 a.m. My first appointment's at 11 because I have to finish dialing and I have to finish booking. So no shame in my game. If I'm not done on Monday, I know for sure that Tuesday I'm dialing from 8 to 10:30. And just going from there. It's, on run days, I run till I'm done, 8, 9. I get home sometimes when the baby's already asleep. So, again, sacrifices, but it is what it is, that this is what it takes. And so in a couple years, he won't even remember, 1, and 2, I'm going to have all the time in the world because I'll already have the agency that I want. I'll be doing more trainings and not running as much. And, things are going to go completely upside down.
Makes sense. And I have a question for you. When you talk about running, did you do a ride along with Eric? Because I've been trying to bug him, see if I could do a ride along with him for forever. No ride along.
All right, we have time. Okay, so I'll give you guys a quick story. Okay. I was begging him to ride along with him at the beginning. Now, you guys know Eric, right? So Eric is very, very dry. It doesn't really give you the warm and fuzzies. That's just not the type of guy he is. Love him to death. Would tell him that in his face. But so he's not the warm and fuzzy guy. And so I'm like, I need to do a ride along with you. He's like, yeah, absolutely. And I'm like, really? And I'm like, I hear that this, like, we don't do this. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Eric. I'll do whatever, just help you out, however in the office. And he's like, yeah, here's the information. Meet me there. It's at this time. And he sends me the Google Calendar thing. So I'm at the person's home. The street, there is no parking. So you either have to go in a driveway or you're in the middle of the road. So I was in the middle of the road because it wasn't my appointment. And the lady's outside gardening. And I'm like, oh, crap. So I'm like, I parked just between the 2 houses so that she wouldn't know that I was waiting for her. So the time comes and the appointment, like now we're late. And I'm like, oh, my God. And I'm calling Eric. And I'm like, Eric, you're not here. The lady's outside. What's going on? Oh, well, I can't make it. Just it's gonna be like 15 minutes if I make it. I'm just not there. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I hang up the phone and the lady's in my window. And I'm like, ugh. So I put the window down and she's like, can I help you? And I'm like, yeah, I'm here for the appointment that you have with Eric Schmidt. I fairly new. I'm just gonna be shadowing him, but he's on his way. He'll be here in 15 minutes. That appointment was yesterday. And I'm like, no, I have it in my calendar. It's today. He's on his way and we'll go in and just present ourselves then. She's like, no, don't come in. We don't need anything. Thank you. That appointment was yesterday. And I'm like, crap, I messed it up. And I'm calling him. I feel terrible. I'm like, it's my fault. Eric, she doesn't want to see us. Why are you in her driveway? Like, what do you mean? You can't get in. You're going to get out of the car. You're going to go in the house. You're going to sell them insurance. And I'm like, and he's like, and I'm not coming. So I get out, I go in and I'm like terrified. I have a laptop. I don't have a touchscreen device. I literally don't know what America is. I don't know anything. I have a yellow law book, the
legal pad.
Yep. And I'm like, sheesh. So I get out with my bag. It was terrible. And I'm like, yes, I'm here for the appointment. He requested the information. I'm sure of that. And I apologize for the schedule conflict, but it is my job to get you the information. Eric is not coming, so it'll just be me. And she's like, Rich, she's back. She won't leave. And so he comes to the door and he's like, you know what? I like you. You just don't give up, do you? He's like, come inside. So he lets me in the door and I'm like, oh my God, what a mistake. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. He lets me in the door. And again, guys, I have no idea what I'm doing. I've only watched a couple of training videos, so I don't know what else to say. So I sit back and I say, so what do you need? What are you looking for?
That's simple.
And so I get some information. Right now, thinking back, this is the perfect client. This is the client that we're looking for. He was in his 50s, 60s, had a term policy that was just coming to an end. He couldn't be without insurance, and he didn't know if he qualified. Like, guys, tell me if that's not a perfect client right there.
Yeah.
So he's gonna buy insurance because he already has it. He believes in it. And so I'm like, yeah. So give me a second. Your situation's really complicated. Let me make a quick phone call. And so I'm calling Eric and I'm like, in my mind, I'm like this, hi, Eric, you know, this is a scenario. He's like, all right, well, you're going to do Americo. And I'm like, I don't have Americo. Like, I don't have any writing numbers. I don't have any websites. He's like, do you have any paper applications? And I'm like, no. And he's like, what do you have? And I'm like, a computer with no internet. Anyway, so guys, long story short, it was freaking horrible. It was a nightmare. I asked the lady for the password. She's like, it really is your first day. You're a novice at this. You're not going to help us out with anything. And they ended up kicking me out. I still drive past and I'm like, that's the guy that needs insurance. And I was
Wow. You'll never forget that experience, right?
Oh, no. But now when I'm asked, hey, can I do a ride along? I'm like, absolutely not.
I like an idea. I'm going to say yes and then just send them to the appointment by themselves. So all of you that are new, if you ask me for a ride along, that's exactly what will happen. But it's amazing though, when you were able to get in and once you had the paper applications, you learn so much faster by doing on your own, right? Would you agree?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely. And so for anybody that's kind of apprehensive about that, because we do have some new agents and then I get that question all the time, like, yeah, I'm just going to go out by myself. And I'm like, yep, watch these videos and duplicate that. How did you get through that process? Obviously you were, probably nerve-wracked, but how did you get through that initial process?
So after that first appointment, I knew what I had to do. For sure. that appointment taught me everything. So I printed out a whole bunch of paper applications. I got some Wi-Fi on my phone so that I could do a hotspot. And I didn't have to ask them for their internet. I still call from every home still till today. Just because someone maybe knows something that I don't know. And I mean, that's pretty much it. I know all my passwords and the websites for every carrier. Okay. So the one thing that no one can help you with on the phone is what's my password? Like, we can't help you.
Yes.
Right. So have your password. Anything else, guys, we have your back. Like, we're your support. Like, you can call Jermaine, you can call anyone, whoever it is that's your manager plus their manager. You have a direct line of support that you have to use 100% of the time. I don't get enough phone calls from agents right now. And I'm always pressing on them. Yes, I have an appointment. Yes, I'm with clients, but if you call me twice in a row, I know you're with a client and I'm going to excuse myself because my priority is to give you support. And you guys should definitely take that and run with it. You don't have to know every product. You don't have to. The biggest thing I did, Jermaine, was I try to get ready for my appointments. So if I made an appointment with Joe and Mary and they were in their 50s, and I try to ask medical information over the phone. Big no, guys. Nothing good happens on the phone. We're not asking medical questions. We're not doing any of that because at the end of the day, all you want to do is get in front of them.
Yeah.
Okay. You're not, and you don't have to spend an hour or two. If you spend 30 minutes, let's say 30 minutes, and you're booking 15 appointments and you spend 30 minutes going through and preparing for these appointments, that's a whole other day of preparation. All right. And when all you have to do is get there, when you know the client's medical information, prescriptions, then you call. What may take you 30 minutes to an hour to look for, and I just got a text message yesterday that drove me up the wall. Literally, hey, I spent 2 hours looking for this information on a, where is it? On a, on this website. And I'm like, why didn't you call me? Like, I texted her in 2 minutes and gave her the answer, you
Yeah.
know? So yeah, so hey, I spent I was preparing for the meeting. I spent 2 hours looking for this. There's no need. Save
Yeah.
yourself the time. Spend the time dialing, getting more appointments, getting better, right? Leave the underwriting to us, and we'll definitely help out. But that's one of the main things I had to learn really early.
Yeah, absolutely. And it goes back to, and we heard it at the conference in Miami, where like 5% of this business is product knowledge, but a lot of people want to spend time and learn all the products. And, the products are really simple. It's like they die, they get paid. I mean,
Right.
if it's term, they outlive it, they get their money back. I mean, it's really that simple, and focusing time more on having more at bats. When you're training agents as you're building your agency, are you giving them a certain goal as far as how many appointments they should be reaching for on a weekly basis, or for a set period of time as they're getting up and running?
Yeah, at the very beginning as much as possible. Like I want their focus not to be on the amount of appointments, Jermaine. It's okay, do you have enough leads to make 250 dials at least? If not, because you're going to drive yourself crazy if you only have 30, 40, 50 leads and you're trying to make 250 dials, 300 dials. You're going to be calling Miss Mary 7 times,
Yeah.
right? And you're going to feel really bad about it. But when you have 100 leads, when you have 150 leads and you're sitting there and you're just running through them, right, triple dialing each, you're going to get to that 100, 250 number really quickly.
Yeah.
And by focusing on that, like how quickly, where's my, can I, am I dialing 40 to 50 times in an hour? That's my focus. And you would be surprised how much more efficient you are when that's your goal, right? So in an hour, I want to get to here. I want to get to 40 to 50 dials in an hour. And my emotions are completely out of it now because I'm not worried about what Miss Mary's going to say. I'm worried about how quickly am I going to dial the next number because I need to get to 40 dials an hour.
Makes sense.
And you just lose all emotionality. And now it's all about, competition with the person next to you because, it's already been an hour and they only have 20. So what are they doing with your time? Right? Like, dude, what are you doing? Like, I'm at 50. So who are you texting? Right? And not only holding each other accountable, but holding yourself accountable because you don't really have to hand this in to anyone.
Yeah.
But you're able to say, oh, I have my horrible dial. They only have 3 appointments. And crap, I've been here all day. I didn't get to eat dinner with the family. I missed the cousin's going away party. And I only made 3 appointments. Well, how many dials did you make? When did you start? Right? And then you're like, I've only made 100 dials all day. So what else were you doing?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not the leads. It's not the system. It's not the process. You're just lazy.
Yeah.
Right? Or distracted.
That's true. Yeah. And that's one of the things I like about this business. And if you could talk about that for a little bit, because, you don't have to have a sales background. You don't have to, be some guru in sales or anything like that. You just got to be willing to work hard. And I like that even playing field. Talk about that a little bit and what that looks like from your vantage point.
Yeah. I love this. I was in the military for 9 years and I was the only female in my squadron. Okay. So everyone looked to me to fail. Everyone. Like they had bets on me getting pregnant before I finished tech school so that I wouldn't be the first female in the squadron. Right.
Wow.
And so then I joined the car business, which isn't any better. Right. And so I was the only female on the sales floor with 20 agents, 20 salespeople on the floor. And there were sharks. So I spent my day outside, even in the winter. I was all, covered up, but I was going to be the first one to that car when they pulled up. Like no one was going to beat me to that. So it's all about how hungry you are. Like nothing can stop you. And when I got here and I'm like, wait, like no one really cares like my color, the color of my skin, because they can't see me over the phone. No one really cares, whatever. Just put the list down. No one really cares. Because when I looked at the leaderboard and I saw Amy up there and I'm like, who's this Amy girl? And she was completely normal, right? And I'm like, she just works really hard. Like she just sees a lot of clients and she doesn't care what anyone thinks of her. And I love that. So I'm like, all right, I want to be up there with her. How quickly can I get up there? And that was my goal. I wanted to be up in the top just like everyone else. And then when I was able to do it, and I'm like, I did this in 4 months, so that's not really hard, and no one's really trying, so we're not really doing anything special. So yeah, then I turned my focus on different goals, and what else does this company have to offer? Went to a convention, started building a team, and but it's definitely a level playing field. Um, your background, your schedule, your budget. You can start with $200. Guys, I didn't even have $200. I was out of work for 5 months before I started at FFL. I was on maternity leave, so I was out of work. I had depleted all my savings. I had a credit card with a $500 limit, and I swiped it. Um, it was nerve wracking. I'm like, this is all I have. Like, we're just gonna run with it and trust that what this guy's telling me that I don't know from a hole in the wall is gonna work. Because this was what he does, right? But I knew that if I had their address and I had their name and phone number, I can go door knock them. And so I focused on the phones. I got really good at the script. I practiced with him. I recorded myself. Anything that I had to do, like that's my favorite line. Whatever it takes, whatever it took for me to be successful with those $500, I did.
Sense. That's that hunger, and I think we all need. And we've been talking to our agency, about elevating, our standards, and it really comes down to being more hungry. One of the challenges I think in this business is you can make money pretty quickly, right? And then depending on what your standard of success is, you could become satisfied. And I remember early on in my career, Sean Mike, when I started having some success, and I went to a sales conference. I was able to talk with Sean Mike one-on-one. He was like, man, I'm excited for you. I just don't want you to become complacent. I don't want you to become satisfied. And there's so much more we can accomplish with what we have here at Family First Life. And it's just getting everybody to see that and being able to reach for it, right? To stretch your goals, stretch your work ethic to be able to accomplish more for yourself and your family. And have you kind of experienced that yourself, or you just always just like gung ho, let's go? Or have you had times where you had to say, you know what, I can do more, I can do better, let me work a little bit harder?
Yeah. So I noticed that mindset, Jermaine, when I started hiring, because I noticed that not everyone wants to be a millionaire. And that made no sense to me. Like 0 cents. Like, wait, what do you mean? Like you're okay with $2,000 a month? Why? That's your goal. Don't you want more?
Yeah.
And then I learned that I couldn't judge that other person. I had no idea what they were going through. Like I had no idea what their background was, what they went through to get there. Maybe that is their stretch goal. Like maybe that is huge for them. So my mindset changed very quickly when I started hiring, and I let go of that. I let go of, I have to make everyone be a millionaire with me. Okay. And I had to meet them where they were.
Yeah.
But in those conversations, I also noticed that even though this opportunity is great, not everyone's jumping to it. And that I don't understand. So when I was looking into it, and I'm like, I'm not asking the right questions to these people. And I talked to, it was Warm Market, right? Just close friend. I've known him for probably 7 to 10 years. And he won't time. He did so good part-time, like he made $10,000 his first month. Dude, you did this part-time and you did 10K. What's going on? And what I really found out was that he was comfortable where he was. Like he wasn't uncomfortable. enough to move somewhere else. So he had no fire to make a move. He was literally, that's the word, he was comfortable, right? So I turned that to myself and I'm like, are you comfortable right now? Is this where you want to stay?
Yeah.
And how long is this going to last? Okay, so are you a couple chargebacks away from being out of business? Or are you completely ahead where you can cruise for 6 months because your bills are paid up to 6 months from now? Okay, so ask yourself that, how comfortable are you right now? And are you a couple chargebacks away from being out of business? Because sometimes we get to that point, or that happens, and that's what lights the fire in our, in our butts when we see that miracle, and it's not a positive, it's a big negative. And you're like, oh my God, I have to go to work.
Yeah.
Okay? So don't wait for that negative motivation. Okay. Find what's going to drive you on a positive note, so that you're way ahead of the game, so that you're not driven by that negative motivation. You don't want your family and friends to be able to say, oh, I told you so, that wasn't going to work out. Okay. But you have the control to do it. You just have to, like you said, raise your standard. But you won't do that until you find a more comfortable level, right? You have to know that it's possible. I have to know that, there's going to be a point where I don't have to run. I can train, which is what I love to do. I can help people go from zero to $350,000 in a year, which is what I did. And I know it's possible because I'm nothing special. But that changes lives, not only for them, but for their families.
Yeah.
Right. And that gives me hope that if I can just change that and the circle around me, and then they can show other people how to do that, like that's generational. And that's what we're doing. So when you get that clear vision, and I spent, anytime I can get around Sean Mike Jermaine, I'm there.
Yeah.
Like I'm there. I will take a plane anywhere. Like you tell me where he's going to be, I'm there. Because his vision is so wide. And sometimes we come in like this, like trying to figure out how to dial, right? And we don't take the time to literally sit up and look around and say, oh my God, this is what's possible. Like you're in that hole at the bottom of the mountain, and you can't see anything around because there's so many mountains, and you're just focused on this one thing where the light is. But if you go up to the mountain all the way at the top and look around, you're like, holy moly, like this, I've been here the whole time. I haven't had this view.
Yeah.
I'm all the way at the bottom, like stuck in the dark. So get up there. Like you have to see that there's so much more. And that's what's going to drive you to buy more leads, to dial longer, to want it more, to not stay in bed because you have $10,000 in your bank account. It's still going to get you up and going because there's so much more. It's not about the $10,000. It's about, I just brought on Jermaine and he's trusting me to help him. And I can't let his family down.
Yeah.
So, if you're new and you don't have that, go out and talk about this to somebody. Bring on a warm market. Go out and grab someone that's cold market. Post it on Facebook. Once you hire someone, once you show someone this opportunity and you know that they're watching what you're doing, you're going to grind so much harder.
Yeah.
So much.
That's so true. That's so true. Let me open up for a couple quick questions before we wrap up. And I really appreciate the time, Liz. Thank you for taking time out your dial day and training. And I'm glad you like training because you're really good at it. Anybody have any questions for Liz? Either South Florida or anybody else?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah, we can hear you, Chris. Go ahead.
Hey, Liz, I was wondering if you can talk about when you started hiring, how fast you started ramping up, and then, some of the things you're doing right now to hire.
Absolutely. So I hired all my warm market, and that was the first hires I did, and I messed them all up. They all ran away. So they're not here anymore. And again, in all transparency, I can't make any of this stuff up. I just literally go through it and just say what's going on. But now I was trying like ZipRecruiter, Career Builder, Craigslist, and this and that, and there's so many different platforms. And after a month or two, I was so overwhelmed because there's so many of them and they all work differently that I just chose one. So I chose one. I just do cold market. I don't do any warm market hiring. We are working on social media now, and I have a whole other person that does that for me because I can't do it. I'm very bad at, I'm not tech savvy at all, even though, I'm not, and I don't like it. So they're ramping up social media. They're doing that part of it. I just do cold market hiring. So I like dealing, just like leads, I like dealing with people who are already looking for an opportunity. And we have a Lamborghini, so we don't have to oversell it. We just have to understand what it is that they're looking for. Why are they uncomfortable, right? And why are they looking for something else? Because that's what I'm going to hang on to. Because this isn't about, hey, we're good and your employer is bad. It's, you're obviously reaching out because there's something wrong, okay? And you're not where you want to be. So this is a possibility. It doesn't take anyone special, and come over and do it. So I was hiring, I had like 10 job posts before when I first started. I started off with 10. I just wanted to get the hang of what it, how it was. I didn't really like calling resumes. It's a pain. I dialed for, to be a producer. So I have to dial now to hire people. Why? Excuse me. So we do still dial, but just less of it. Now we just email everyone that we get resumes from. We email them, let them know, hey, great resume. We think you're going to be great. Watch this video, click on this Calendly link, schedule an appointment with us, boom. Okay. So if you get 20 resumes and you send the same email to all 20, they saw the video, they watched Sean Mike explain the company and the system. They saw your Calendly. You have, knockout questions on that Calendly link, and they book an appointment. So in the Calendly link, I'm telling them, do you know that this is a 1099 position? They say yes, meaning it's commission only. Do you know that you are required to live in the United States? Yes. Okay, perfect. And do you have reliable transportation? Yes. All right. So click on this Calendly link and schedule your appointment. And then I come in and I have, I'll use yesterday or today or tomorrow for, as an example, I have 10 interviews scheduled already because I woke up at 5 a.m. and I had 30 resumes and I emailed them all this morning at 5 a.m., which is what you do in non-money making time. And then you get into the office, you dial whatever the case may be, as they all wake up and book their own appointment, their own interview. So then tomorrow between appointments, I have 10 appointments and I have 10 interviews. And then I'm able to run and talk to people who have already watched the video, are already interested in an opportunity, and I get to talk to them for 15 minutes while I go from one appointment to the other. And so that's how you do the two jobs at once. It took me probably all year to figure it out. Now with the system that we have, I could probably get rid of my recruiter and just do it myself, but I wouldn't do that. But it's finding that balance of doing both that really kind of disrupted me for a while. But once you figure it out and I'm like, I don't have to dial these people. I only dial the ones that don't do the Calendly link, and that's probably a third of them, maybe half of them sometimes. Most of them answer better to emails and texts anyway. Yeah.
Makes sense. Thanks, Liz. Appreciate that. All right, I think we got time for one more, and then we'll leave you a minute or two for some closing words. Anybody else with any questions?
Hey Liz, it's Gio. I want to ask you a question because obviously you being a female in the business and you already touched on this already, but what would you say to empower some of our ladies in the team? There's a lot of ladies coming in on board and obviously, like you said, it's a different field. Some of them definitely don't have the sales background and stuff like that. But now with the tools that we have, and obviously with the internet live leads and the availability with all the leads, how do you empower your female agents?
All right, guys. So I need the guys to all cover their ears right now. Ladies, we are so much better at this than the guys. We naturally are. We don't need to try as hard. Like, you can go out, like, they just literally, just like Eric Schmidt threw me into that appointment. If I would have had a paper application, I would have closed them. You know, because think about think about the conversation that you're having. You're talking about finances, you're talking about health, you're talking about, you know, marriage, right? In most cases, they want to protect their family. You know, you can't really have a kid if you don't have a significant other, even if they're a straight, like, you have a family, like, we're talking family. Who better than to talk family than us, right? So we already have that. They want that motherly leadership person to just guide them. Like, they need that. That's who they want to talk to. We're not awkward on the phone. We just need to be nice and level. Like, we can't go, hi, Jermaine, this is Liz. Like, I'm a cheerleader, because Jermaine is thinking about dying and he wants life insurance and he doesn't want some happy-go-lucky person like cheering him on. He needs someone that's here, right? So as long as we can control that on the phone and keep our conversations to 3 minutes on the phone and not talk about their dogs and pets and families and medical conditions on the phone, those are the hardest things that I've seen with women in the business. Like, they try to be way too friendly, but we don't need to like try so hard. You know, our skill set's already there. We just have to get in front of the clients, and, you know, young, older, whatever the case may be, whatever it is that makes you look a little bit older. Like, I started when I was 28, 27. And so I went back to my military ways. Like, I have a bun, I put the best lipstick I have on, and like, I'm sitting there. If I have to wear glasses, I wear whatever. Like, whatever. Like, Alondra Topete says this. She's like, I don't have to wear my glasses. I have contacts. I wear glasses to every appointment because it makes me feel older. Because she's 22, you know what I mean? So whatever it takes, and I'll always go back to that, whatever it takes, whatever's going to make you feel comfortable enough to help someone out with their finances. Also, I used to wear jeans and a polo to my appointments. I was really mad when I heard this in a Matt Smith training. He's like, you know, I don't think females should wear polos and jeans to appointments. And I'm like, what do you know? Whatever. Like, I was so upset. I took it personal. I was like cursing him, and I'm like, whatever. I'm not even going to listen to him. And then I was having a really bad week, and I couldn't close the door behind me. And I'm like, all right, Matt Smith, you win. I'm going to listen to you. And I put on the best work pants I have. I wore heels, a work shirt, like hair down. I straightened it, makeup all done. And I sold like $5,000 that day. And I'm like, this works. So I never again wore a polo to an appointment. I don't know. I mean, that's really it. We females, we rock this thing.
That's awesome.
I agree.
One last thing, if I can ask you, Liz. I mean, I know that you work in the Spanish market a lot too. So we're also down here in South Florida, and we want to make sure that we can tap into the market as well as fast as possible. So, all honesty, what would you say to us?
So to those who want to tap into the Spanish market,
Yeah.
I mean, we're not doing it fast enough. There's so many people that need our help. And I honestly think that there's not enough people wanting to help the Spanish market for whatever reason. But if you can, it is an untapped market. Like, if you speak Spanish, why not? Where, especially in South Florida. So I got an office in South Florida. I'll actually be there on Wednesday. And the reason why I'm able to go, and I have an abundance of leads where people are like, this is oversaturated. We can't find a lead on the CRM anywhere. And I'm able to go and have over 100 leads to call from one day to the next, just because I'm going to see my like Hispanic families. So that's the advantage. If you speak Spanish and you're in a place where you feel that you don't have enough leads, oh, there are leads. Get some Spanish ones. As far as training goes, we're looking to get better at the Spanish training. I have a, just like Hit the Ground Running. I'm sure most of you have been on Hit the Ground Running. We have a Spanish training every Monday at 8 p.m. So you should see that on the Facebook groups pretty soon. They typically post it around 5 o'clock today, so that everyone kind of has it fresh in their mind and gets to it at 8. But yeah, it's an untapped market. You can, I have a couple guys down there that run just Spanish, and they do $15,000 to $20,000 every month. So just on Spanish leads.
Got you. Thank you. And then what sources are you using for your Spanish leads?
They're Spanish final expense mailers. They're all over. Spanish final expense mailers. Talk to Sasha about those. TTC, Tips, Tricks, and Closers, has Spanish leads. Happy Agent Leads has Spanish leads. Secure Agent Mentor, Social Insurance Leads. They're everywhere. What is it called? Lead Bank Direct has Spanish leads as well, where you can lock out a county. Okay, so if you can't find Spanish leads, it's because you're not looking for them, but they're everywhere. Everywhere.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Good stuff, Liz. Appreciate it. And I know you just mentioned the call you have every Sunday at, I think it's 8 p.m., right?
Yes.
Tell them a little bit about that, and then we'll share that link in the in our Facebook group as well. Absolutely.
So we do a new agent training every single Sunday. It's called Hit the Ground Running. Literally, that's what it's designed for. Whatever it is that we can train on, leads, phones. I try to keep it as simple as possible, because the goal is to help you get from, hey, I just got contracted, to selling within 30 days and getting paid, like money in your pocket. So I try to keep the training super simple. We have guest speakers typically every week. Last night it was just me, because I wanted to get really deep into, that gap between I got contracted to my first sale, which some people think it takes 3 months. It can literally take 3, 4, 5 days. We're just not getting leads fast enough and getting on the phones, because it's scary, and that's okay. But we talk about all those things, the fears as a new agent, what to do when I have a full schedule and now I'm late. So the very basic things that we just don't get in any other training, and it's live, and it's a Q&A typically, or training for the first, it's a training for the first 30 minutes and Q&A in the last 30 minutes, so that all the new agents can, just unmute themselves, ask questions. And as simple as the questions may be, that's what we're there for.
Makes sense. Perfect. Well, I definitely appreciate your time today. Phenomenal job. And you're welcome back anytime. And we'll definitely be hopping on that Sunday call as well. We'll get that out to the group. So anything you want to leave everybody with?
No, I mean, like Jermaine said, we see each other in every single training. So, I've gotten a chance to talk to Jermaine quite a while. Guys, you have a great leader, and he hustles and he works tirelessly. If you're not where you want to be, it's on you. If you are where you want to be, that was because of you. But if you haven't done so in a while or at all, schedule a one-on-one. Like, that's what Jermaine is here for. Hey, Jermaine, I need 15, 20 minutes of your time. I just don't have the right lead structure or the right schedule set up, and have a conversation. The fact that you guys are all here on this training says a lot about you, which is great. Pat yourselves on the back, but take it one step further. If you're not where you want to be in your business, reach out to Jermaine, your direct manager, and you should invest time having these conversations. They're worth it, especially on a one-on-one.
Yep, 100%. That's how I got better. So appreciate it, Liz. Everybody, just throw a thank you into the chat so Liz sees you appreciate the training today. Thank you so much, Liz. Stay warm up there, and I'll see you at the next sales conference, okay?
Absolutely. Have a good one, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. So, hey, guys, we got, we're in week, I think this is week 3. We are in right now, halfway through the month, basically. So make sure that you guys are positioned to win. Internet life leads are available all over the place. So make sure you're taking full advantage of them. And if you need help, reach out. Just like she said, reach out. Any of us are happy to help you. South Florida, I'll be down there next week. So look forward to seeing you guys again. And let's elevate. Let's elevate, man. Let's raise the standards. 30 appointments a week if you're full-time, 15 to 20 if you're part-time. And if you don't know how to make that happen, reach out, and we're here to help you guys. So I think that's about it. And let's make it a great rest of the Dow Day, y'all. Take care.